Hello, how are you all doing today? Me, I'm in definitely walking two worlds. We've got the material world and the presented facts, and I don't know how to solve it. Well, I don't, and I do. I just give it to the universe to solve because the conscious mind will try and solve perceived problems that are being presented. So, passing clouds, it'll resolve itself. Give you an example. Last Sunday, I thought I could really do with some new flowers. And I got some. The daffodils are sort of almost had it, but the lilies are still looking pretty good. And they smell lovely. There's just numerous little things I could bore you with. I looked out the window yesterday and the view wasn't that agreeable, and so basically manifest a rare sight, a road sweeper to come along. It's a shame it didn't do the pavement or sidewalk as well, but people drop rubbish and I can't stop them doing it. I can't fix the world, but what you can do is change your vibration. It starts from within. So you fix yourself and this magic happens. It's like you're tuning in to a different broadcast signal and the external will just match the vibration, the feeling you're on. It's that simple. Anyway, we'll get to the topic of this discussion. It's going to answer, I feel, some questions and some things that are sort of hot topics. So let's start with Tartaria. Now, these maps have been put out there for a reason. You'll notice when you look at these world maps with this Tartarian Empire, there's very little detail in them. There's a reason, or there's, like, you get to parts of North America beyond California and it's just left blank. So what would be the reason for that? Well, the first thing to sort of ask yourself is who created the maps? From what perspective, what label is being applied here? So basically, what the Tartarian Empire is, it's an empirical, not an empire, it's empirical. It's an empirical fact that would be revealed. This is being drawn from a perspective through Roman filters. It's not under the control and influence of Rome. They're the areas that have not been conquered. They're still outside their sphere of influence. That's all it is. I believe it was Rudy and the Dogs and Wise Up that sort of came to the realization all it means is territory. It's not actually a unified empire. It's after thousands of years of destructions and people having to fend for themselves, forming into little tribes of survivors and surviving the daily thing. This is where the whole spiritual benevolence was then sort of coming back, this sort of universal church that came out of Ireland, which in turn was the remnants from what we can call Atlantis. And you look at the pattern, it's Jesus preaching from the hill. Well, you go to South America, go to Peru and places, you've got stories of Amaru or Quetzalcoatl is more the Mexican name, but it's one and the same. It's bringing back knowledge, it's bringing back things that are beneficial to the local people, which are from the perspective of the one that's bringing that or the ones that are bringing that information. They are the Hebrews because they're from the other side, but they're not your enemy. They're benevolent. They're helping you. They're trying to bring back and reform that universal tranquility, rebuild that Eden. But of course, we're in a realm of duality and it gets knocked back. Where else do we want to go with this? Yeah, so this missing 1,000 years. I've sort of mentioned this on a couple of videos, and I feel it's not being heard. Let me just clarify the missing 1,000 years. In terms of linear time, in year dating, they are not missing. The missing 1,000 years is 1,000 years of history of this destruction of this church of Iessa that was centered on Tara, the root word of Tartan, the root word of Tartaria, and many other things. Tarmac, tartar sauce. Tartar means bye-bye. It's the intention, and from the perspective through the Romanized filters, basically. It's that simple. But we've all done it. I myself, as much as anybody else, looking at the Middle East and looking at things that are coming from the direction of the rising sun, and looking at it and trying to figure out, problem solving again from the conscious mind, using the intellect, and trying to figure out how this thing has moved, chasing a setting sun. It's fair to say that a lie needs a basis of truth. So while all the rearranging and applying of labels and place names are things that were going on the Middle East and things, and the sort of conflicts in Europe is all setting the stage ready to then go to eliminate this Church of Iessa in Ireland and then go across the Americas. You've only got to look at the sort of patterns of conflicts, look at the patterns of the way things were sort of spreading and how things were changing. You've got the discovery of the New World, the Americas, from 1492, a sort of first inroad and starting the assault on eliminating the sort of spiritual enlightenment side. That, of course, is expressed in paintings. How would you... Now, I've seen this, and I'm pretty certain many of you have seen this. I've even had comments on previous videos saying I'm glowing. It's not a physical perception. It's nothing to do with having a suntan. It's something about an energy that you sense or see. So this is why in art you have it depicted as a halo. It's like an enlightenment. It's just a physical externalization of something that's going on within. But of course, it's manipulated and used in another way. I'm not saying that the church stained glass windows have always been that way, but what I'm saying is it is an externalized expression that predates the thing that is now claiming ownership and misappropriating what is being shown. So you'll see this pattern with conquest and exploration. So you've got, after the Americas, you've got Australia, and then of course the Antarctic. And it follows this pattern with eliminating the competition, anything that stands in the way of this Romanization, shall we say. Look at it from two very opposite perspectives now in the material world. If I was to start up as a business, not employing anybody, but just myself on my own as a business, I would be referred to as a sole trader. But what if I was in control of everything and hiding behind many franchises? Would I not be also a sole trader? Something to think about, and think about the spelling, and think about how the word soul has many meanings depending on the way it is written or spelt. And of course, how you interpret that information. So another one that is often discussed is the fall of man. While we are falling for the history, while we are falling for so much, while we are trying to figure things out, while we are getting entrenched in the mud, in the mind of the mud flood, for example. All very interesting and all very fascinating, and you can go into endless minute details with all of these things, but remember the devil is in the detail, because while you are focused on that, one, you're giving it energy, and secondly, what about your shadow work? What about addressing the bits inside yourself? You want to change the outside world, you change yourself first. So for example, if you see a video come up on notifications and there's something in the title that you don't agree with, that's the video to watch. Because if you feel that there is something where you feel triggered, even by the title of the video, never mind the message that's in the video, I feel it would be rather foolish to chuck it out, because that is going to be of the greatest benefit, because that is helping you to identify the things that are triggering you. So I would say watch the videos that you don't agree with, and then internalize, identify where these triggers are within inside yourself. Ask yourself, is that information just purely in conflict with something you believe? And you may need to adjust how you feel about things. Do you know it to be true? Do you know it to be false? What feels right to you? These are all internalized questions we all need to ask ourselves as we go through this. I put it as a statement on the about section of this video that the only nation is imagination. So whereas in this material world you have divide and conquer, where we're arguing with each other, as Lana says, where we're like monkeys throwing shit at each other, trying to be right, because I hold the truth, or I hold the truth, and all this sort of thing, and I've got the answers. It ain't like that at all, is it? Let's be honest. How could any one of us have all the answers? When we sort of take a step, often from the conspiracy side, but also from the health side, do you really need to know about all the things about the salts, all the things about diet, all the things about history? Wow, how long would that take to fill your head with all this knowledge for the intellect? Wouldn't it be far simpler to go with the simplest answer and go with what feels right to you? The material world offers you a perspective just with a covering, a clothing, with buying off the peg, one size fits all. But does it really? If you're buying a shirt, for example, and the measurement is just on the collar size, does that account for the physical body, whether you're tall or short? What about the length of the arms? Because you're buying off the peg, you're buying off the shelf, you're buying something standard, and it's put away and across to entice you that it's limited edition. You'll stand out from everybody else because you're wearing something different. But hold on a minute, you just bought off the peg. When you bought that item, there were many more of those, so there'd be somebody else out there wearing exactly the same thing. It's not very individual at all. It's just an illusion of individuality, and very egoic, because you want to stand out from the crowd. But that isn't really the spiritual way. It's inside, it's expressed in feeling. Those that are on a similar vibration will just feel it and see it and recognize it, and it doesn't even need to be said. It goes back to when I met Claire, who was on this channel. I put out the wish that I want to meet people in this local area that are on the same vibration. got really not too far away. So that was one already, but I wanted to meet more. And so I put the wish out there, and it was instant soul recognition. Not a word was said. It was just like in that flash of a moment, it would be like everything I've said on this video so far in these 15 minutes, and then adding to that all the motions, the feelings, now writing it out in a binary code of zeros and ones, and that is how quick it would come through in the spiritual. But boy, try and write it, try and express it. You'll find that the words are totally inadequate. You just feel it, you know it. So this year of disclosure, this year of revelations, I feel it. But what are you expecting? Don't have expectations. Are you going to have an alien invasion? Are you going to have a Buddha or a Jesus in the sky or something else? Something external from you? Or do you feel it will be something you just know from inner feeling, something that just comes to you? Would you not think that would be the disclosure and the revelations for this year? To me, it feels right that that is how it will come through from the metaphysical. It won't be egoically paraded on display for everyone. It will just come, you just know it and you just feel it. But of course, it depends on your vibration. Because like I said nearer the start, you put out a frequency and a vibration. The external, which is just a mirror, will match that. And it will present you with a whole lot of new opportunities as you shift in your vibration. So those opportunities change. Be under no illusion that it's going to be a bed of roses. What you'll actually be presented will be things that may seem more problematic, but seeing that, the beauty of it. Because consider some of the things that have happened to you recently. One moment, I need to clear my throat. Good, I pressed the right button rather than stopping the video. Yes, so consider things that may be externally presented to you in very recent days, say over the last week. Now compare to yourself a year ago, 6 months ago. If you were presented with those things from the external then, how would you have coped? Consider your spiritual growth, how far you've come. And consider how, you've taken a step forward. And by taking a step forward, you're now going to be presented with new opportunities. Some of these things are going to look horrific. I'm going through this myself. But you don't worry about them. I've learned to don't let the conscious mind start trying to create what ifs and figure it out and cast a different vibration, because where your attention goes, your energy really does flow. So don't give that any attention. What will be. Just let it come. Your mortal perspective and your lower conscious will make judgments on whether it was good or bad. See, that's another thing, Judgment Day. When you get to a point when you realize, when you think, oh shit, why did I do this, or why did I behave that way in the past? You've made a judgment on yourself. The Judgment Day is not one single day, it's every day. Because the Ancient of Days is not one single day. It plays out every single day. But it's this, is it in the science, the point of singularity? Well, the whole point of singularity is being your individual, true, authentic self. But these things are compartmentalized, so we only see or hear them in one particular perspective. So now you've got this great Tartarian Empire that never really was. I'm not saying there wasn't something at one time, but it is so long ago, and out of that, and this is the whole reason I'm doing this Atlantis series, is not to start going into every little minute detail, but just to reveal the patterns of the deception and how humanity has been played against itself, how human energy that has been played is working against us. That saying about you're your own worst enemy, well, who knows you better than you, than your own lower consciousness? Where are all those little conscious left brain problem solving thoughts coming from? You've taken in information from outside, yes, no doubt. But you're now constructing, solving. Well, let's think about, this has just come to me, just to end this video, solving. Well, you've got the word soul. You've also got a V, which is like pointing downward. There's your fall of man, when we fall for the deceptions and are unable to see the patterns. But as these patterns become revealed, there's your revelation. You're arming yourself with a knowledge and going through experiences. See, this reality, this material realm, is all about data collection, because it cannot create. So it has to collate, it has to extract from you. It's learning from you. You're teaching it, or we are teaching it. Every time you do a comment to a post on social media, you notice it's offering you words. You can take the easy option and click on them because it's predicting what your next word. It's learning from you. It's data collection. But we're not here for data collection. What's the metaphysical opposite of data collection? It's not details. It's growing from the experiences. That's what we take away from this reality. That is what we're here for, to go through experiences and come to the realization that it ain't all good and it ain't all bad. But if we put a judgment and have a perception of it as a particular way, well, that external will reflect that back at you. It's a series of mirrors. It's a Wizard of Oz. It's an illusion. Some of those reflections are good. Some of those reflections are bad. You just feel what's good and what's not. I feel that some of you will get this. You'll have that aha moment. A is 1. H is 8. So it's 1881. But look in the middle of the two 8s. There's your two X's. There's your IXXI. There's your Lionsgate 88. Sit in the middle between those two 8s. Because this reality is an eternity. And it has a duality to it. Just sit in the middle of it and let it go by like passing clouds. You're going to get days that are sunshine. You're going to get days that are rain. But they pass. And you may have rain one day, but then you'll have sunshine the next. I know it comes down to seasons and things, but it's just an analogy, just sort of a sort of allegorical description, shall we say, of trying to sort of give you a new perspective on this reality, that it ain't all bad. I don't particularly want to leave this reality, to be honest. I'm enjoying it because, yeah, I'm being presented with some things that would seem to be bad, the external facts, or what would appear to be external facts, but can overwrite them. Done it before. There's no reason why I can't do that again. That is the whole reason, the reason of going through this experience. And we did choose to come here, whether we remember it or not. So, wow, we're up to 25 minutes. So much for doing a short video, but I feel it's important to share this. It's sort of clicked together in a way that I feel I can explain it. So, Tartaria, Just consider what the perspective that label is being written from. I can give you another example of this. So, Wales, the Welsh, historically that is the name applied by the Saxons to the ones they're said to have driven out. But of course, that's all part of this muddled story. We'll come on to a bit more of this about Atlantis in another video, but I think that's plenty for now. So yeah, just think about perspective of the labels. What the information presented, what is it trying to extract from you? Is it something of benefit to you? Is it stopping you doing that inner work? Because it really does come down to where you focus your attention. I'm not saying what you should do, what you should or shouldn't do. That's entirely up to you. What I will say is go with what feels right to you, right across the whole spectrum, from daily life to what you look into, what you research, what you listen to. Ultimately, you have the choice. But there's a thing called a world debt. Well, if every nation is imagination, the debt that is owed, the own us, is upon us. You owe it to yourself to find out who you are and your reason, your reason, and your purpose for being here. So I'm going to say love to you all, and I really hope that has... Wow, there's an emotion. My ears are... sorry, ears. My eyes are sort of welling up with tears, but it's not a sadness thing, it's a release. It's like, let it go. And there'll be a time it's like, I can't show myself on camera with tears in my eyes. That's a sign of weakness. Nah, it's a sign of the waters from above. You have a flood when you do a reset, do you not? So let it flow. Sit with it, whether it's good or bad, because just stay neutral to it and just... Again, with the timing. Time has this negative perception that you're chasing it, you're trying to make time, you're creating time, you've got to allow time for this. It puts you in a panic. You're not being. But if you just stay in the present, stay in the moment of awareness, just observe, you'll start to see the positive side of time, and that is the beauty in the timing. How wonderful is that? I just hope that more of you will see it, feel it, sense it. Because that's what it is. Mwah. Love to you all.